Hey, we're back. The El Donzo and D Show on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm El Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And we've got some Muskegon, Michigan action coming at you right now. Real quick, though, there's one story we did drop, and I want to get to it, and we'll get to the Muskegon, Michigan thing. So, this deal with Hunter Biden lying on his Form 4473. Now, we've talked about this ad nauseum of what that is. You're certifying that you are not a user of or addicted to any illicit substance, any Schedule I narcotic, not even that you're addicted to alcohol, really, which is one of the most lied-on questions on the Form 4473, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is most people that lie on that Form 4473 aren't as stupid as Hunter Biden is. Now, this is a Fox News headline. People are going to freak when they hear this, but wait a minute. I've actually got a theory on this, how this may not be what they want it to be. Fifth Circuit Court deals blow to federal gun statute used in Hunter Biden case. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit on Wednesday voided a federal law that prevents unlawful drug users from possessing firearms. The statute, 18 U.S.C. 922 G3, bars anyone who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance, including marijuana, from possessing a gun. Violators can face up to 10 years in prison. However, a three-judge panel citing the Supreme Court's landmark gun rights decision last year unanimously found the statute unconstitutional as applied to defendant Patrick Daniels. So here's the deal. Patrick Daniels, a habitual marijuana user, was arrested in April 2022 after police searched his car and found marijuana and 2 loaded firearms. He was convicted that July and sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison and 3 years of probation, a conviction the Fifth Circuit panel has now thrown out. So, why is this different? Why is this different than Hunter Biden's situation?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Nobody can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Patrick Daniels lied on the Form 4473 to obtain those firearms. How do we know he was smoking pot then?
Fair point.
Okay. We just know they popped him with guns and marijuana, and now this has gone into where they don't want to ban people from having firearms that are smoking pot or maybe an illicit substance. This is a slippery slope, and it's a completely different story. The difference was we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that when Hunter Biden lied on that Form 4473, he was addicted to and or using illicit substances. So he lied on a federal document. Now, it's not a federal document, but it's a questionnaire to the federal government, the ATF, the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF. That's the difference in this. I don't think anybody could look at this on its face and go, okay, well, this guy got, he got let off the hook, so Hunter Biden can too. Now, just because I look at it that way, and Deez may look at it that way, and the people listening right now may look at it that way, that does not mean that's what's going to happen, as we talked about in the last segment, that he could get off from this. I hope he doesn't. He doesn't deserve to, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's not that because he's an addict. It's not that he has issues. That's not why I want him to be thrown in the slammer forever. I'll tell you why, because I'm pissed off of the double standard in this country, and the blindfold has been taken off the Lady of Justice.
Yeah.
Really?
I think that eventually he's going to go down for something. But I
think he will too, and I'll tell you why.
I still don't think that dear old dad's going to catch anything.
I'll tell you why I think Hunter Biden's going to eventually go down. And it's likely going to be in a ditch or a dumpster somewhere. Hunter Biden knows too much. Hunter Biden can take down the whole regime. Okay? Hunter Biden will roll. Hunter Biden doesn't want to go to be jail and be, like we talked about, sodomized on last week's cold opener, which I thought was pretty good, by the way. He does not want to do that. Hunter Biden's going to end up, like I said, with 2 or 3 bullet holes in the back of his head and his wallet still in his pocket. That's just what I think is going to happen to him.
No, I think his dad's going to basically be caught in another lie and it's going to pardon him.
Yeah, well, you got to remember that too. That's always the other thing. Joe Biden is still the president of the United States,
Yeah.
whether we believe he was duly elected by the people or not. And he could absolutely pardon him. The president can pardon anybody he wants to.
He is saying the no part. Well, he isn't saying, but
And this is a federal thing, so Joe Biden could pardon him for that.
He hasn't said it, but I think Karine Jean-Pierre made the comment that they weren't going to do it. But he's only allowing, or they are only saying that right now because of the election coming up.
Right. Once it gets done with the election, that's when the gloves come off and they do all their goofiness. But here's the other thing, too. This is what gets me, Deez. We just talked about that in your theory. And your theory, while it is very plausible, if they're really this bad, what the hell do they care about the election? They could just rig it.
And probably will.
And probably will. But maybe they know maybe they are just a little hesitant that we may actually attract enough votes to make it difficult on them. Now, speaking about election interference and election rigging, and this isn't about Russia, hacking into the DNC servers, which, by the way, did not happen. We're going to go to October 8th, 2020, in the little town of Muskegon, Michigan, where the city clerk, Ann Meisch, noticed a black female, which her name was redacted, dropping off between 8,000 and 10,000 completed voter registration applications at the city clerk's office. Between 8,000 and 10,000 completed applications. Doesn't that seem like a lot to you?
That seems like an awful lot.
All right. Seems like a lot to me.
That's not where the story gets funny, though.
So, the Muskegon Police Department was contacted and asked to investigate. And on the 21st of October, First Lieutenant Mike Anderson was contacted by Tom Fabus, Chief of Investigations for Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel's office. According to Michigan State Police report, this was a police report. They filed this over this. Fabus asked the Michigan State Police assistance with a joint investigation of alleged voter fraud being conducted by the Muskegon Police Department and the AG. An investigative task force was formed, and guess what? They had an investigation. So this is from the State Police report. On 16th October 2020, Muskegon City Clerk Ann Meisch and Deputy Clerk Kimberly Young contacted the Muskegon Police Department with these irregularities they noticed. The Muskegon City Clerk became suspicious when the female, redacted, hand-delivered thousands of these registrations to her office, many of them in the same handwriting. Now, on the 20th of October, the suspect returned to the Muskegon City Clerk's office to deliver additional registration forms in person. Meisch estimated that the suspect brought in an additional 2,500 forms. Meisch contacted the Muskegon Police Department and Detective Logan Anderson and Captain Sean Bride, and they conducted a non-custodial interview with that chick. Meisch stated that in her opinion, a quantity of the voter registration forms were highly suspicious and possibly fraudulent. This is shaping up to be something right here. They've contacted the state police, right, Deez?
Mm-hmm.
They go in there, they're doing an investigation, and then this chick's name, I believe it's a chick, gets redacted.
Yeah, it. I don't know if you read it all, but her name is listed eventually.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So this is something else they find out. The female suspect who explained that she was being paid $1,150 a week to find unregistered voters and provide them with a form so they can get registered to vote or obtain their absentee ballot. Here's the problem. The handwriting on the voter registrations was the same on several of the registrations, and many of the addresses were non-existent or fake. So can anybody sitting here right now, after hearing this, tell me they're confident that there wasn't fraud in the 2020 election? Deez, what do you think? Am I off base here with this?
No, the only, to play devil's advocate, the only thing that throws even the slightest red flag to me is that this is a story that is on the Gateway Pundit and only the Gateway Pundit.
Now, that's an interesting take on that. I'm going to tell you why that's an interesting take. The Gateway Pundit gets fringy at times. The Gateway Pundit goes out and gets stuff nobody else wants to do. This will not be played this will not be shown in the mainstream media. Now, I want to go back to something. We're going to try to find it at break.
I did find quite a bit of references to this story on our Twitter, which is obviously very conservative. at Eldonzo D's, by the way. I did find a lot of people mention this, but all of the links and everything was all to this one article. Like, I poured through all the major news outlets, couldn't find anything on this story other than that. Now, they do have, it seems, legit paperwork from the police reports. So I do think there is a significant amount, if not 100% amount of truth to this. It's just funny and scary that nobody else is talking about it.
I don't think it is. And when we return the Eldonzo and D show, we're going to play a clip of audio and show you just why it's really not surprising to Eldonzo. We'll be right back here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Hey, welcome back to the Eldonzo and D show, right here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm Eldonzo.
I'm Deez.
And in the last segment, if you folks out there, wonderful folks listening to the Eldonzo and D show on a Saturday morning, will remember the question got brought up. Why are there only certain things in the Gateway Pundit and these other so-called fringe news sites that we don't see on mainstream media? Now, this story on the Gateway Pundit seems to be fairly credible, right, Deez?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to give a defense to this on why you cannot discount stuff on the Gateway Pundit. The Gateway Pundit has broke some very serious things in the past 3 or 4 years. Some stuff that nobody else was talking about, and everybody discredits them. So what we did during the break was I had Deez pull up some audio that we probably, look, in all honesty, we should have gotten this audio out there a lot sooner. We should have been promoting this because even to us, it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening. This is Joe Rogan, and he had Howie Mandel on.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did it creep Joe Rogan out, but I think it creeped Howie Mandel out too, right?
Yeah. He was pretty taken. It creeped me out.
It's very, I don't know what to name it. Dagnabbit. There's some way I want to describe this. It's not coming to me right now.
Eerie.
It's eerie. It's almost robotic is what it is. Almost like everything's been pre-programmed.
It's a long listen, but if you've never seen this clip, it's worth it. This is eye-opening.
So I'm going to start at that spot that you suggested I start at. Does that quite explain everything that the listeners
basically
are gonna need to hear?
what Joe is doing is they were talking about various things and how the media is controlled or whatever. And Joe asked Howie if he'd ever seen the video of all these news stations basically saying the same thing. And he said no. So he pulls it up, and this is somebody compiled this video. Now, you can't watch the video, so you won't be able to pick this up. But let me say that what you're going to hear is not like all these different Fox affiliates. And it's literally every network affiliate. There's Fox, there's CBS, NBC,
everybody,
ABC.
Every major news outlet is doing this.
And these are local, like like our local WEEK. These are local but affiliated to a major network, but they're not all from the same network, and that's where this gets spooky.
Now, what I want to say is whoever put this together is a genius.
Yeah.
It's all real. It's not BS. We need to share we cannot forget to share this video on Facebook. The video does it justice, but you will be able to hear this as well. And we're just going to go ahead and play it for you. And I don't know where it's going to stop, but hell with it. Let's go for it. Here it goes.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever seen that video where it shows local news people? I'll send it to Jamie. It's local news people all saying like the exact same thing. It's really weird.
No.
It's one of those things where you go like, I kind of knew that this happened, but to see it happen so blatantly.
Watch surreal.
Here, I'll send this to you, Jamie. I have the actual video of it. I could just send it to you.
Radio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility
Yeah, that's it.
is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
we are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are concerned about troubling one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their
This is f***ing scary.
Yeah.
This is the scariest.
Well, that's propaganda. I I mean, this is they're trying to bend a narrative in a very specific way for everybody.
And when the video is playing, you'll see it's hard to tell when you're listening. There's like 25 to 30 split screens of all these different local news anchors saying verbatim
the exact
same
thing. They were told to say it. They're saying the exact same thing. The puppet master is pulling the strings at this point.
Yeah.
Now, Gateway Pundit has been sued. Gateway Pundit has been
fact-checked.
Fact-checked by idiots, okay? They've been called conspiracy theorists. They've been not allowed to have they've had their press badges revoked at certain events. So when somebody goes, well, it's a Gateway Pundit, you can't trust them. Well, I don't know. Why don't you look at that video and tell me if you can trust these people?
Yeah. No, again, when I said that last segment, I completely forgot about this video. And yeah, it makes sense. Like, you turn on your CNNs or your Foxes, and like CNN is obviously nothing but left, Fox, nothing but right. But all you have to do is watch that video to understand that there is a higher power that is actually pressing the buttons.
Well, there absolutely is. And we can, it's a sad day when you can't trust your media any longer, when you cannot trust the press. They are so biased. They're so wrapped up in this, folks. They are so angry that Donald Trump actually became president.
Yeah. And back to the original reason for this is that explains why this particular story about obvious election fraud was happening in Michigan. And like I said, all of the police report documents and stuff are there. Pictures of the actual documents with the stuff redacted. And all it makes me wonder, or not wonder, but realize is like, this is one not huge city in America that this was captured in.
You're talking upwards of 13,000 ballots, fraudulent ballots in Muskegon, Michigan. What the hell happened in Detroit?
Or everywhere else? I mean, even if you're not a fan of the Gateway Pundit, go there just to read the story and decide for yourself. If this could happen there, who's to say it didn't happen all across America, especially once you read and find out the responsible parties, that like the people that were paying the people to take these voter registrations in. It all ties back to a heavily democratic organization that is everywhere.
Absolutely. Look at Georgia. Look at, like we just talking about, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
All these states. Look at Arizona. What's going on with Kerry Clark in Arizona?
Yeah.
That's another one we got to touch on real quick. There's some news on that. At this point, how can you discount anybody's statement of this? How can you discount the evidence?
Yeah, there's a lot of it there, and that's, like I said, one small city.
This is the Aldonzo and D Show. We'll be right back.